In the past, the district administrators and board members have relied heavily upon legal and procedural advice from the Iowa Association of School Boards. That group has come under fire recently for numerous things. What do you think should be the future relationship between the district and the IASB?
I think that definitely we should, it's a wait and see. We talked about it and we're going to stay with it this year. There's a new leader and we are hopeful that new director. Now there's a board, he's overseen by a board, and I would expect that the board there will ask questions, and if the answers aren't complete, not be satisfied with them and not stop. I think a bunch of nice people on that board, but because there hadn't been problems in the past, it might have just been being naive. And I do think, though, that unless information is confidential because it relates to personnel or to students or any of the code exceptions to open records, unless it's a code exception, I don't think they should. I think that they should be releasing them. I think that would do a lot to enhance trust.
So what's the best plan for Ames Elementary Schools?
And are you referring to facilities?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've publicly voted for the 6-school plan, and I'll just say what my reasons are. And factually, what I've said in the public. And first of all, the plan was started because we don't have space in our schools. We have portables. We have kids bused away from their home schools. We've lost some small business people from attending our schools. Don't know where they settled eventually, but in building conditions, which were outlined to us very starkly in pictures and tours, will end up being addressed too. Every code would be met, all asbestos would be removed, ADA accessibility, mechanical and electrical, pretty much gutting, and some replacement too, and some new buildings. The reason a 6 school, I chose a 6 because it's able to keep, put the schools, after hours and, well, more than hours, days and days of data, looking over data presented to us about student numbers and where they live, we placed the schools. We looked at 10 sites. We looked at all district sites, and the priority was always location. We gave 10 sites. We wanted options. We didn't want the vision from the architects. We wanted options. It's our job to set the vision. So with that in mind, they brought us options on where kids live around 10 sites. We weren't going to go with it, but we didn't want to. After the process is over, the thought is that that's when you start selling property. But we want to make absolutely sure that that wouldn't be a better site than one that was still there. And in some couple cases, it did turn out that way. So location, number of kids there, number of kids in the past, number of kids projected into the future to the extent that can be done. And based on that, we got it down to 6, and brought it. We were 6, 5, and 4 for a while, and we had numerous open house discussions with the public, and we had question and answer sessions. And when we got the sites, we finally decided the 6 sites. What we did was just look at evaluate if it had a building, should it get fixed or should it get replaced? The Meeker site likely will need to be replaced. And in fact, I asked the facilities director that at the meeting, and if there was anything salvageable, and there's not. The Roosevelt structure is a good candidate for renovation, so it will be renovated. Mitchell will be renovated. Sawyer will be renovated. Miller Avenue will be a new building. That location has a lot of kids and potential for future growth. And what have I left out? 24th Street. Sorry. The North has 3 sites. For me, the Fellows site or the 24th site, they both have a lot of kids. The site to the further west, which is George Carver, was too far from the current Fellows neighborhood. Had few, so that it would be not only disrupt the site, but it would disrupt the kids that live around it. And from feedback from parents that they like to use the Fellows building, the high school building for performances or for sometimes one class uses a lab. That to me made the 24th Street site look good. It's just up haze from there. So in this, again, once you renovate, all codes come into place. All schools that have they all have, basically except for Northwood, that they contain asbestos, non-handicapped accessible, and other issues that all will be addressed. And for me, it provided the coverage of Ames, where the kids lived, and kept school, and was able to keep schools at 2 and 3 units. That was my mine. So my reasons for supporting 6.
So what role did Roosevelt play in all this for you? Was it a sticking point in your support to the plan?
No. You know, with the plan, yes and no. With the plan, you know, we started the planning 3 years ago. This is the second board, really, with a couple changes that we decided to become the facilities committee. In the past, whether it was city or schools issues, there's always been the perception that consultants are hired as, like, I'll just say, quote unquote, expert witnesses or something to give the answer that maybe staff want. And we don't know if that's true, but there was that appearance. And it was the board also did not want to appear to be hiding behind somebody else's recommendation when it's our job to set the vision for the district. So I really started getting involved in school issues more intensely in about 2003 when band was threatened. It wasn't orchestra at the time. Band was threatened, and the way the process was, I fully was against band closing. First of all, being reduced, but secondly, they were being pitted against media specialists, which created terrible situations in the buildings. And this was a previous administration, so they kept the band. Enough parents spoke up, and they kept the band. So that started getting me really paying attention. Now, when Roosevelt closed, it was done very suddenly, and people that got up to speak against closing it were marginalized by school board members in some cases. A couple of them, most of them were just fine. The reasons given were a decrease in enrollment. That was the biggest reason, and something about accessibility, and which we know can be fixed if you want. Anything can be fixed. Student enrollment going down and keep going down. Well, understood that sometimes and it's very hard to predict, and when in fact it went up quite a bit. And so one of the things about Roosevelt in my neighborhood, you know, certainly people support it and just were devastated when it closed. One of the, you know, if it didn't work as part of that, the numbers weren't there. I guess who better to say it's not the right one than some people that live there. In all honesty, the numbers were there, and it's affordable housing. Young families can afford to move there, and so it's not surprising that they worked. So.